Phillies. We got the Phillies. We talked about
Bop, 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 bop.
trashing.
Market vitals, the levels you need to triage. Matt, like the cold won't go away. I am HFR from the sick ward currently. Yeah, I get it. You're being recorded. You're being watched. Everybody's being monitored. I got the hogs fly hat on. I need some bacon. I think bacon's the best thing for colds. It is the cold and flu season, Matt. Remember that? We used to have a cold and flu season. Well, we got it again. It's back. Matt, let's start off. Let's start the show off today with a fond memory from the Twittersphere. And I had kind of sort of forgot about this game. Track and field, one of the great quarter eaters of all time. And Super 70s, who we share a lot, says, I can feel my forearm muscles burn just from looking at this. Not only forearms, like I nearly broke fingers and wrists, like trying to get this guy.
Well, I think it was a joystick game with one button. It had one button. It had like that left red button, I believe.
Yeah, to run fast. And then
but it was only one button.
The long jump was the hardest, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you go fast and then you'd hold it for the long jump. Yeah, and the other one that was hard was the javelin throw, because you had that perfectly 45-degree. Matt, that's just science.
I think that was the only one I was decent at. Was the javelin. For some reason I could nail that timing, but the rest of it, the 100-yard dash, I was not even competing. I was never competing because that button also wasn't tactile, right? Because
what I didn't understand is, like, how could people have scored so much more than me when you look at the leaderboard? Like, how is that even possible? Right. I'd have to put 7,000 in quarters in this machine to get there.
Right.
Man, you said on the way in when we started talking about this, that like the video arcade, and then just at bars and whatnot, the proving ground for a lot of these games.
Well, and I also think, like, our generation, we were like the test case, and we, because these games obviously weren't super pervasive, but the ones that had them, and you tried playing them, and they weren't that great. Like, I would rather, honestly, I would have rather played the vibration magnet football game.
Stop.
I would rather play.
Listen,
hear me out. I would rather play the magnet. Where you had the guys, vibrate on the board.
Yeah. Even the Lions were okay in that game.
They were okay in that game. Yeah. I would have rather played that, and Stratomatic baseball I played. That was for sure. That's why I trade today, because Stratomatic, I'm all about. I was a Stratomatic kid all the way. But still, the best game ever made is Stratomatic baseball. Thanks, Lee, for popping that one in there. But we are coming into the holiday season, right? It is technically November, and which is technically the start of the shopping season, Bob. If that's your thing, it's Christ's birthday and the shopping season. So we've got. I wanted to throw up, since you brought it up, Mattel. And Mattel peaked out here again in May of 22. So it kept going during the COVID low that it saw of 654, a 4+ bagger up here to 27, now sitting at 1838, down 3% today. And look, we have entered into the value zone on this longer term chart, and I would not want to be long this thing right now. It's starting really, as 18 goes, so will this rest of this profile go. Got some support here at 14, and then again down at 8. So I don't know if anything's going to save Christmas for Mattel this year. I don't think they have any games that I'm not really out there shopping for little kids anymore either. So, but I don't know if you have any insight on that yourself.
No, I don't. Thank you. That's the way today's going to be. Thank you. All right, Matt, Twitter just delivers. There's all this hullabaloo about $8 blue check marks, and the greatest is these billionaires saying, like Stephen King, I'm not paying you $8. I'll leave.
I know. Keep me away.
Okay, leave. Big deal. But Matt, I had this from long ago. when they brought out Twitter Blue, I said they should just go Twitter Blue Balls, right? Come on. And then it delivers. It delivers because ZR1 Trader shared only twats. Okay, I'm going to stick with Blue Ball, Twitter Blue Balls. Yeah. And this is from Hamza Shaban. Twitter is working on a feature to allow people to post videos and then charge users to view them. With adult content a possibility? Well, of course they are. Listen. And then, just as a backdrop for all of this, Matt, it just delivers. The world delivers. And that was this that you shared. And I will share since you shared it, because that's what we do here. We share. Supermodel Heidi Klum's daughter, Lenny Klum, 18, lands a Supraga modeling campaign. Look at that. Like, how do they cancel this? Oh, why don't they cancel this picture in front of that gas guzzling?
Oh my God, you're right. What are you doing?
Ford Mustang. Are you
kidding me? 64.5 Mustang? Jeez, what are you doing?
Terrible.
That thing takes regular gas, not even unleaded.
Leaded gas. She can do the old paywall and post videos, maybe on Twitter. Holy smokes. Yeah, let's just leave it there before I get in trouble. Matt, what do we want? We wanted to look at lingerie.
Well, you didn't finish. You got to go down a little bit more, and then we'll lead into the, again, the
there it is. Exactly. Yeah. I knew there was a reason why we were getting into lingerie.
Yeah.
Wow. Hello. Good
Tubin.
morning.
Good tubing to you.
What's for breakfast?
Good tubing to you, Jeffrey Tubin.
Holy cow. That's impressive.
Well, we thought we would talk about Victoria's Secret, which we have not talked about. It used to be known as the Limited back when, it was old, and Limited Brands was all part of, it was part of that. But I think the Limited name kind of melted away and it became all about, what you just showed there, which is the underwear. This is a recycled name. They probably took it private. I don't remember the details on the private to public again, but we've talked about that. So it's another good situation to talk about that. Here's a brand again that was taken private, repackaged, pumped public, came public again and last July of 21. So,
and by the way, I've seen several threads on, don't think that that's not what Elon's longer game plan is here.
For sure. Yeah. I mean,
Right.
he'll be able to get his money out just on taking it public again. Whenever he does, whether it's 6 months, 6 years, it doesn't matter.
Or maybe they'll just spin off Twitter Blue Balls because it's the most profitable.
Right. It's very likely. So this stock is, languishing. Again, not a long track record here. High of 76, low of 26, and currently trading at 38 as we come into the ho, season.
Well, Matt, if there's
the whole season of life.
Right. If there's any reason to be on the buy side of this, for me, it would be that we are staying in that lower end of the value, that longer term value range, and we're coming into the holiday season. Why wouldn't? No. I mean, nobody's going to be able to afford to go out, so you might as well buy some lingerie for your partner and and hang out.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, that chart is creeping into the value zone. But again, in the profit market, no dividend paid, of course, on this new issue, and $3 billion market cap today. So again, just thought we would throw out a little VSCO for you, a little VSCO.
All right, Matt, let me share one more.
So we've got the Fed coming, Bob. Let's chat a little bit about it.
Wait a second. Before we go to the Fed, and this is actually a good segue. For the Fed, because this makes me smile. Taco Bell says, turns out we underestimated how many of you love Mexican pizza. 7x more than we expected, to be exact. We're working as fast as we can to restock Mexican pizza ingredients. We'll need some time to replenish our supplies, but when it comes back, we promise it's here to stay. And the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District says we'll be ready. That speaking about taking a Taco Bell induced dump, we got the Fed working on their language, I imagine, at this point. I'm sure it's all in there. Right now, they've just ordered knishes and pizza and maybe Taco Bell pizza.
Yeah.
let's talk. All right, go ahead. Great segue. Thank you, Heifer, and thank you, ZR1 Trader, for sharing the share.
Yeah. Let's see. I wanted to start with the 2-year. The 2 years trading today 453, so significantly higher. 465 was the all-time high here, or the recent all-time high, and this has only been trading not long, so it is the all-time high. Actually, we do know that. So again, in the spread, 4.03 in the 10-year, still very wide. It's still over a 50% or 50 cent spread,
50 basis point. Yes.
Between the 2 and 10. And I think even on like the 6-month notes right now, I think you can get over 4%. So again, you can go out there right now, take your cash money, buy a bond, and earn an annualized 4%, even on a 6-month bond. So I think a lot more people are parking their funds. I think a lot more people are waking up to the fact that they're not going to be reducing rates anytime soon. But I still think people are truly holding out hope that they're just going to start taking it down to negative again. And I mean, the inflation number that just came out of Europe, Bob, did you see it this morning? Was the highest it's been ever. And so you've got this European Union that has a war going on, right? And you got everybody like pointing guns at each other, literally standing in a circle. And you've got inflation blowing through the moon. And in some of these Eastern Bloc European nations that are in the EU, it's not going to be so fun this winter when their inflation is more like as a whole. The EU is saying somewhere around 11.5% today, but there are countries now, Latvia, some of these Liechtenstein, smaller countries that have no real economy besides travel. They are looking at 20s, like 22% inflation. So at some point, the 22 percenters are going to get crushed, and the EU is going to sit back and go, "We're only at 11." But somebody's going to raise a gun again. I think in these.
Hey Matt, you're seeing it in the docile U.S. of A. I know you've seen several of the Barack Obama. Like he's got to be regretting going out and stump speeching, because he is getting, the Commons are starting to rattle their pitchforks.
This is what we've said for the last couple of years. It's just a matter of time before that starts happening. And
I mean, the guy thinks he can just smooth talk it. Now the Commons are at his door, even in a place, supposedly packed with his supporters.
Right.
And he's getting just drilled. It's unbelievable to see. So you're right. I mean, a whole lot of crazy going on down in Brazil. And we're going to see how that pans out, but for sure they've the military now is involved from a investigatory and from a computer warfare angle, is my understanding of it.
Yeah. Let's also, since you brought it up, let's look at the real, the futures contract. We haven't looked at it in a while. Here was the election. We had a spike from 1833 all the way up to here to 1933. So again, the initial reaction off of, the incumbent losing is bullish. But I would not.
Well, I'm actually longer term bullish Brazil, because it is a commodity country.
Right.
The problem with them has always been, can you trust anybody in power there?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same with Argentina. I was in the Mexican peso pit in '99 when Brazil just came out and devalued 30% overnight.
Right.
And believe me, it was a shock. Like nobody knew that was coming down the pike. So I mean, that's the problem. That is the problem. It is a resource-rich nation that does not seem to have, for the most part, the woke agenda that Canada, Australia, New Zealand have, which are also resource-based economies. So we've talked about the real and who had on their bingo card, long real, long, especially after the Ukraine thing, long the ruble and short the yen.
Also thought, since we're coming up here, we're now at a new high on this is 30-year rates. We're up to 708 here now. And this continues to go parabolic, Bob. And so again, we've got we've got the rate increase coming here in about an hour. Don't forget, in 2000 we were at 8.78, and that was June. So that was June of 2000 when we were last up there in the eights. This was a key level. 7 was a key level back here. Like, that it was the 7 level that they had to break to kind of end the stock bubble, right? So they had, when that started cracking in mid 2000, late 2000, that's when they really started driving rates down, and they never got back above 7. So I just want to point out that we are back above 7. It may be a throwover, but we kind of ended the month October above here, and we continue to go higher into this second to last 2022 FOMC meeting. So this to me is not again, it's interesting talking to people in the real estate business. They truly believe, Bob. They really truly are standing there trying to get deals done and get stuff pushed through, and they really think that people they're just going to start reversing course and taking this all the way back to 2%. And it's
unfortunately for them,
it's boggling that they don't understand that markets don't work this way. You don't reverse 20, 30 years of bond bull market tree to then just take it back down again. They're not going to do that. They're just not going to do that. The money's not there. The money's not coming into the market even at 7%, right?
The other threat on that is that at 7% or somewhere in there, that is the long-term average return of the stock market. So why would you want to put money in the stock market to attain that average when you can do it with the risk-free U.S. government bond?
Right.
Anyway, yeah, it's
well, and again, let's come back to the bonds, with that in mind. And the ZB again is the 5-year Treasury is trading currently today 121, got down to about 118, and we're ultimately looking for that 114 level as the point of control. And this is for all time on this future. This thing started trading in late 98, early 99, I think. And late 98. So you're looking at a quarter century, 25 years of price discovery on this chart. And you can see, if you're a trend line person, it's clearly broke. I mean, it clearly broke the trend line back here and the spring of this year. And from there, I mean, it is violent, right? And this is why if you are a trend line trader, this was a big trend line. I mean, because it was it was a quarter, 25 years of pricing. So that hole got filled. So we're filling all that in, and we could spend some time, we've talked about it. We could bounce to 130, 135 and still be very bearish. So, but again, I think it is all going to come down to the language the Fed uses today and again in December when we have one more. Will they cut 75, 50? That's everybody's guess. I don't get into that. I don't really try to predict it. It's not worth it. There's, I don't have any edge in doing that. So I don't really have a comment on it. I'm not trying, I'm not going to make money one way or the other from this number. The way the market behaves after is how I can make money. And most likely, probably you start looking at after today, then we go to the midterms. I think the midterms are weighing a little heavier than, say, the interest rate situation today, because it's not new, right? I think a lot of the interest rate stuff is priced in, whether it's 50, whether it's 75. If it's 50, are they going to do 50 again?
Well, the thing that's interesting about it is JP Morgan came out and said that it could be 8% either way, the move, right, like 3 days after, post this thing. Oh, thanks for giving me a 16% window. You're the analyst,
right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's not very convincing either way, right? So
thanks for that. Hey, Matt, the Halloween costume winner was the poor sportsman right out of Little Brother. The beautiful thing about this is that the costume includes personal fouls, bad defense, losing the Paul Bunyan Trophy, and having more fight in the tunnel after the game than you showed on the field. I did that for you. Congratulations. Little bro.
Hey, the Phillies, that's great.
Dude, the Phillies. The Phillies had to take 2 buses to that game, right? One for the players and one for their bats. Holy shit. Yeah.
Bryce Harper is having an MVP postseason, isn't he?
Dude, the Schwarber, every time you see a guy that was on your team and he roped one to dead center and knew it as soon as he left him. He knew it off the bat.
Right.
And the guys it's amazing in baseball like that little nuance. The guys in the dugout were like waiting to see if it clears. They should just looked at him.
Yeah.
Right after he hit it, because he took 2 steps and threw the ball.
Well, especially the home field, like your field pretty well, and as a batter, how that feels on your bat, and the park pretty well. You've hit, if you played there for a season or so it's pretty good.
He absolutely it's something to behold. The other thing that is incredible to behold is the energy. I'm not sure it's quite like any other sport. The energy in a World Series game is it's breathtaking, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's crazy. The energy that ebbs and flows pitch to pitch. It's like this.
And everybody's just like, oh.
Yeah, it breathes in and breathes out. And then when there's something like that, and then it happened again and again and again, they just crushed that ball. Unreal. So awesome.
Yeah.
I would say soccer is similar, but they're all drunk and singing the whole time. So there's no pause.
And there's no offense.
And then there's 4 scores a game average.
It's kind of, it is, but you could argue this year that it's almost like watching, the NFL, especially on Thursday nights. So you could definitely make that argument.
What, watching soccer and watching Thursday night football is the same?
It's the same. These 6-3 games. I mean, it's only 3 scores. It's maybe 2 more than you get in soccer, but it's not very exciting right now. So Roger Goodell, can you work on maybe changing? Maybe they should do a rotation. And that should be your penalty. Like if you're having a bad week and your team's getting worse, then you should go to the Thursday night show, because it's going to give you less time and you're just you got to figure shit out quicker.
Okay.
So maybe they should just make Thursday night the new basement for pro football. Hey, I did want to talk about, since we are in the cold and flu season, as you suggested.
Yes, I'm personally involved in the cold and flu trade.
So let's take a look at, one of our favorite jab companies. And I just want to point out that we're kind of in a bracket in which we've been in for a long time. And the cold and flu season, may be the hype that is kind of pumping this up right now. And we have been running here since the high teens all the way up to 160 we almost hit. But we're getting again, this goes back to January. So this is almost a 10-month, this is pretty much a year chart. But you see this bracket, right? We're in a big meaty part of the bracket right now in Moderna for the last year. So if you're riding this sine wave up and down, up and down, up and down, that it's a trader's market, and you should be taking advantage of that right now. But when it breaks, and when this breaks one way or the other, you're going to probably look at yourself at maybe another $80 rally or an $80 collapse. So $80 from 200 gets you about 280, and $80 below 115, let's call it, gets you down to about $30. And when you start looking at the long-term nature of this chart again, Bob, right? So now you have this little 1-year bracket that formed in here after a top at 500 all the way down to 115. Guess where 30 lines up with? It also lines up with the point of control. So I just want to point that out, that, as a price trader, if that 115 goes, it's not going to be pretty, I think, for the people that have been trapped for the last year. So what happens is all those people that have been long from 115 to 200 start having to get out all the way down, and that's what typically leads to a mirrored move higher or lower. Right on. Perfect.
I mean, crystal clear. Am I clear? Crystal clear analysis by Miss Trade. Miss Trade, another 2 weeks and you're going to be back full float. That's what I'm hearing. My inside people at Twitter are telling me that. Yeah. Full float, 2 weeks. 2 weeks to stop the spread, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. 2 weeks. All right. What else? Anything else? I'm gonna go jump into a vat of NyQuil and see if that doesn't work for me.
You're starting to give me a headache just thinking about
Vicks.
how poorly.
I'm not kidding you. By far in the last 3 days, I've sneezed more, maybe than in the last decade combined. I am not even shitting you. Not even one little piece of Northeast Ohio sewer shit from the Taco Bell pizza. I am not even shitting you that much. World record sneezes. Who had HFR shattering his sneeze record all time in 2 days? With the
also, we're gonna start doing. We've talked about this name a couple times, but we're gonna start doing a regular showcase on. Basically, this stock represents the WEF. I think some analysts should come out and say this now. Infosys, right? These guys are the pushing. They're supposedly.
Wait a second. I got to bring up the breaking. Did you see the breaking news of Greta ripping on Rishi, the new prime minister?
Yeah.
The elites, Matt. The elites. They're going to have each other here.
No, but this is what, but the elites are eating themselves for sure. And so this is I think this is the index or the stock that I would pin as how's the WEF doing? And right now you could argue that it's bullish, right?
It certainly is. Yes.
The CDBC, the central digital banking currency, which these guys supposedly and proposed are the brainiacs behind this method, right? They're the ones that are going to implement it. Well, again, I think you have to watch this. And we had a 5-bagger from 500 to 2000 essentially, and we broke. And we've already come back and tested the breakdown here at 1670 with the pushback here to 1630. I would argue that the next 300 points comes from a break of, are you going to go above 1700 or are you going to go below 1300, right? Or let's call it 400. You go below 1300, right. That points to 9, which is about right to the value area. So again, this is kind of the similar thing with, and again, it's been spending since May. Oh, well, it broke here. The runaway breakdown happened in April. So again, it's been six plus months since this broke down. And they have a next earnings season coming up, 2% dividends supposedly to pay. And the next earnings is now scheduled for January. They just wrapped up the other earnings here that they beat again.
Hey man, let me ask you a question. I'm just thinking here because when you said the 2% dividend, obviously for people to continue to attract capital or into their stock, I think the dividend story continues to grow and grow and grow, especially with rates going where they are and what you can get, not having any risk exposure to the price of the stock. When these 2 years and 5 years and 6 months are getting this kind of return, it's all coupon clipping, baby. It's coupon clipping, and why take the risk? Right. Yeah. But my thought is,
I think smart people are waking up to that for sure. So they're starting to.
Absolutely.
Because it's been 15 years that they've had that. I mean, it's been 15, 18 years since we've had that option in bonds or, and again, I think you'll see maybe some corporate bond business will be picking up because people are willing to, invest more in the bonds than they are the equities. So I think that will become, secondaries will become an issue there also. So.
All right, here's my call. Altria pays 12% dividend within the next 2 years.
Yeah, it's paying 8 still today. So, yes, and some of these feeds where people are like, give me one stock to own the next 12 months. I mean, if you're going to put a gun to my head to own it for 12 months, I would definitely say Philip Morris. It's not going anywhere. People are addicted to the nicotine and killing themselves. So it's not going away. But in the meantime, Joe Biden and your gas policy is up 75% from the day you took office. So stop.
Hey man, bring up since you brought that up, bring up the RBOB chart because we know he was able to get all the Social Security recipients more money. Oh wait, no, he wasn't. And he's been able to bring gas prices down. Well, it depends on what your relativity is, your theory of relativity. And the thing that gets me is, where are his relatives letting him be this theory of relativity that nobody seems to understand? Bring up RBOB though, because
We talked about it earlier. $1.52 here. This was the election day, $1.52, and we're at 268.8 right now.
No, but the important part there is floors become ceilings.
Yeah,
ceilings
and again, this floor is here, and this looks bullish. This looks bullish, and again, I could see things that are unseen that could play out to, as you and I have talked about, possibly seeing oil rush all the way to 200 or 250 a barrel this coming year. I mean, why not? It went to negative. Why wouldn't it shoot to the opposite end and on the upside, right?
Amen to that. Yes, amen to that.
So,
I mean, I don't want it to happen. I'm just saying that's
no. And when gas is
the messenger.
And we talked about it, like when, like if this diesel story plays out, if people actually are out of diesel, I don't know what to believe here anymore. There's they're saying we're days away from being out of diesel. I think you would have the trucking lobby be talking about this if this were the case. Like, I don't think they would let all those workers go sideline without a battle. That's just my opinion. But so I don't know what to believe on this diesel story. I have a hard time believing we'd be out of diesel. I really do. But we'll see, between now and the end of the year. If that were to happen though, Bob, I mean, think about it. What do you think oil would do? I mean, it's that alone would drive oil.
Well, I mean, I think the bigger question is if you can't put something on a truck and ship it, good luck. Good luck with everything in your life.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all you Greta Thunberg, climate activist fans that want your avocado toast and your spandex.
Her name is Greta Thunberg. She's not part of the Thorn.
Oh no, she's definitely the Thornbergs.
Greta Thunberg. This week on TNT, the Thornbergs. Greta Thunberg gets betrothed to Bill Gates.
Glad you picked up on that.
That's it. I just threw up in my mouth thinking about that.
Oh. Ugh. Do you think she was on Epstein Island during all those meetings?
Please, I just said I threw up in my mouth. Can we move on? All right, Matt. That's all I got to give. I wish I had more coal to give, but
all right. So are we both going with the consensus plus 0.75?
Plus 0.75 and no pivot, and this market gets destroyed.
You think it's getting destroyed today? It's already been down this week. Well, here's what I always say: wait for the first move. The first move is usually the wrong move. So however we end today, we'll do the reverse tomorrow. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Bing.
And that may be changing now too, because everybody kind of knows that. So,
well, here's my thought too. Like when Senator Warren, that great economist and business person, has senators author a letter to Jay Powell. If he softens his language, people are going to draw that, right? That now this is politicized too. Like he in my mind, he can't. He's got to say, no, it's 75, and I'll let you know when our metric says it's not, and shut up.
Let's just look at one more thing while I have you. It just popped in my head. I wanted to look at, and that has to do with rates, and it has to do with real estate. And I just wanted to look at the overall Dow Jones, all equity. So this is again commercial and residential real estate REIT index. And again, this bottomed at COVID at 1360, currently trading 2184, Bob, as low recently as 2000, let's call it, and making its way down. So this is, again, off 33% already from the high that we saw in January. And, this kind of goes along with what we were talking about yesterday with the different West Coast markets that have already fallen from the highs. This is showing a 33% price reduction coming in all real estate is what this is showing, Bob. And the stock market always leads in the actual prices. So, and the prices have barely come off, in the biggest market was, what did we say? It was like 8.2 in San Francisco. So that one alone's got, it's got another 20% just to catch up to this. So if you're looking at leading versus lagging, these are leading indicators to me. The market is much more accurate of the future depiction of what's going to happen. And again, interest rates going higher, it does not portend well for this industry.
No, Matt, let me just throw this out here. Let's say they do soften their tone. It's not going to matter. I saw a thing the other day, 30% of small businesses couldn't pay all of their rent.
Wow.
30% across the country didn't make full real estate payments.
And you're saying that's like what, a recent quarter? Where was that from?
Within the last quarter or the last 2 months? I don't know. So yeah, they can talk dovish, but the reality on the ground is the only thing that matters. So yeah, they talk dovish, rally everything. Okay, great. Let's see how that pans out.
Yeah, so that low, the COVID low on the real estate index is 1360. We're at 200, let's call it right now. So that's another 900, which is still another 50% off, possibly, just to get you to that COVID low. And that's big, Bob. That's a big move still. So
I am Big Bob, by the way.
Big Bob. Uh-huh.
He is Big Bob. Okay, you play line? Man, I gained a few pounds since college. And every time I tell somebody that I played a little football in college, they say, "Would you play the line?"
No, I was a quarterback.
Did you play the line? Yeah, I played the line.
Well, you were in the age of Warren Moon type quarterbacks, big offensive lineman as a quarterback.
No, my favorite was the guy from Kentucky. Remember that about a decade ago?
Yeah,
the dude was like 6'4", 300.
He
Awesome.
was a tight end offensive guard body.
Yes.
But he could motor, and he had an arm that could chuck, man. That guy could chuck the ball. Man, he was good.
All right, that's all I got to give. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Mark. Mark, we will talk DWAC tomorrow. I promise. I just can't do anything else. I need to go. Peace. Thank you all.